ladies. So the mural has been transferred onto the wall back here at the studio, and I wanted to explain to you how to go ahead and do your squares. Hopefully you will all contribute at least a square, but you're welcome to do as many squares as you would like. You may or may not be able to see it on the wall in the camera, but the mural is basically a giant crayon turned sideways, so it takes up this whole back wall here, and it's all gridded up, and each of the grids has a number on them, or each of the squares has a number on it. And so what you need to do is you need to just pick one or two or three or whatever of the squares that you would like to do. And they are unfortunately one of four different sizes, so we wanted to make them all the same size, but there's a number of reasons why that didn't work out. So they are four different sizes, and most of them, so let's see, I wrote down the sizes. So there's a 12 by 5, a 12 by 11 and a half, a 16 by 5, and a 16 by 11 and a half. So as I said, there's a number of sizes, but hopefully that won't mess you up. Each of the squares is divided up into either a warm or a color section. So you'll see some of them are just all one, like they're all warm or they're all cool. Some of them, though, have different parts of it are warm and parts of it are cool, just depending on which square that you pick. So what you need to do is basically come up, figure out which square you want, and then what we did is we put up a big piece of paper on there and traced the design and the grid and the numbers and all that stuff onto that piece of paper, and then cut it up. So I've got templates basically for each of the different squares. Now these templates are not exactly the right size, they're pretty close, but when I was cutting them up, they could be off a quarter of an inch here or there, whatever. So, but on each of the templates, you'll see they're pretty much in numerical order, at least right now. And on them, in this case, this one has the number 2, and it's got an arrow pointing up, meaning the template, if the square fits on the mural like this, facing up versus facing down. And that's just in case, if you're doing an abstract thing, it really doesn't make any difference. But if you're doing some sort of an actual picture, it is important, obviously, whether it be right side up or facing down or whatever. So anyway, you'll see the number, you'll see an arrow, you'll see the size that the piece should be. In this case, it's 12 by 5, and then you'll see either warm or cool colors. And the C, it means cool. Obviously, W is going to mean warm. Now this one happens to be all cool. It probably fits. Let's see, this is number 2, so it's way over there, but it's part of the border of the crayon, so it's all one color. But here's an example of one. This is one of the 12 by 11.5 inch squares. It's number 14. Here again is the arrow, the size, 12 by 11.5. And you'll see it's actually divided up into 3 different sections. So this part down here is warm, this part in the middle is cool, and this part up here is warm. And again, the idea is this image of the crayon has been broken up into all these squares. So this particular piece, which is number 14, probably has some of the actual crayon itself, and then some of the background and whatnot. So that's why it's some warm and some cool. So if you choose something like this, you just have to be pretty careful that you replicate the warm and the cool areas and end them where they're supposed to be ended. Otherwise, in the end, when this is all filled up, it's not going to look like a crayon. So anyway, let's see, what other notes do I have for you? So you pick your template, or you pick your square, you come over and you find the matching template, you take that home with you, or you can work on it here, in the studio. You can do any kind of media that you want. So basically what I would do, well, obviously choose your medium. I'm gonna do a few. I'll probably do a quilting one, maybe a wet felting type of square. I might do a collage one, whatever. And so I could either take another piece of nice paper or whatever you work your art on and trace this onto it so that you're not working right on this flimsy piece of paper. Or in my case, I'm probably going to come up with a quilt square, and I'm just going to cut it to the proper dimension when it's all pieced together. So however you want to do it, the idea is you want to come up with a square or a rectangle that is in the correct dimensions and has the layout of the square, somehow represented in your square. So, oh, and when you pick a square, go ahead and write your name in pencil on the wall, whichever square it is. In addition to picking up your template, they write it on the wall so that we know that that particular one is taken. And right now, there's a few squares already taken, and you'll see in here, like this one, Jessica has claimed this one. Her name's right here. So make sure you write that down so that we don't have two people doing the same square. Let's see what else. I sent you this sheet already that gives you a sort of a general idea of what the warm colors we're looking for and the cool colors we're looking for. You don't have to do these exact same colors, but we would like you to sort of stay within this range. And you'll notice there's not any greens on here. Allison, one of our members here, came up with the color selections here, and she's a graphic artist and been doing this for a long time, so I assume there's a really good reason there's no greens. Maybe it's because it would, if you stick to a fairly narrow band of colors, it's going to be much more obvious what the finished picture is like. I'm pretty sure that's probably what the deal is. So anyway, stick to these two bands of colors. And let's see, I'm just checking my notes, see if there's anything else I have to tell you about. There's 65 squares, there's 4 sizes of squares, warm and cold areas. I told you about the different sizes and what's on them all. And yeah, I think we've got it all. So if you have any questions, feel free to get a hold of me. You guys all know how to get a hold of me. And other than that, when you get done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a whole bunch of those clear push pins so that you can just come up and mount your square or your rectangle in basically the correct area when you get finished. And eventually, it may take us a few years, I don't know, we'll have the whole thing finished up, and that should be really, really cool. So I'll probably put a container of clear ones. I don't have any right now, but I'll put a container of clear ones probably with wherever I stick the templates. And for right now, I'm sticking the templates just here in the back of the studio. So that's where I'll be putting the push pins as well for the time being. So yeah, I think that's it. All right, thanks guys for your time, and I cannot wait to see what you guys come up with. All right, thanks guys.